Back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 5. This is a kind of a belated panel. Looking ahead to the hurling semi-finals, concentrating on hurling between now and 4. Kilkenny and Clare contesting the first semi-final at Croke Park at 5:30. That match followed tomorrow by Limerick against Galway at 3:30. Joining me in studio to look ahead, Clare's Colin Ryan, the All-Ireland winner back in 2013 and the former League and Leinster title winner with Dublin, and also ex-Tipperary hurler Ryan O'Dwyer. Colin and Ryan, how's the form, lads?
Yeah, all good. So far we were chatting away out there, so looking forward to 2 games now the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was saying it's been a long time since I've been to Croke Park. I missed Clare's last stint there in 2018, so I think there's a great old vibe around the place, and then obviously I think the weekend kind of works. You know, the 2 semi-finals, Saturday and Sunday, there's a great vibe around the place and stuff like that, and builds up a right good weekend to talk about.
You were telling us you had an unusual way of getting to Croke Park, well, not to Croke Park, but to Dublin today.
Yeah, I was just saying, I got into the car today, Mum and Dad were going up and my brother, but I don't think we've ever been in the car to Croke Park together, which was quite strange.
Not in the 90s, no?
No, I think in 97 I think I went, brother didn't, and 95 we didn't go, so like it's been a strange, and in 2002 I think I went up myself, so it was a strange vibe. My little nephew, he's 6 or nearly 6, was up with us, so it's a strange atmosphere, but we're looking forward to it.
We also have in the line Tom Condon, former All-Ireland winner with Limerick. Tom, how's the form?
Good now, thank you.
Tom, are you coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, heading up in the morning now with my son and a couple of lads. So yeah, as Colin says, like it's just strange being at this side of the fence. Like you're so used to being in a bubble and just getting to the pitch. You don't have to worry about getting up there or where you're going to park and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something different and something still getting used to.
Is it enjoyable, Tom? Are you more nervous as a spectator or?
Yeah, I suppose you just don't have the anticipation of coming on anymore. So yeah, you still do be kind of nervous for the lads and stuff like that. But you can enjoy it more, and you can say you just don't have that gut feeling in case you're beckoned at any stage to come down to the sideline. So yeah, just still adapting.
Were you at the Munster final, Tom?
I was, yeah.
Magical day, wasn't it? Magical.
It was a super game, and credit to both sides. They just went at it hammer and tongs, and you can't ask for any more. And the referee as well, he contributed to such a spectacle, Joe. And they gave everything, and they was just lucky enough that we came out on the right side of it. It could have gone anywhere.
I was kind of moaning, Ryan, that maybe hurling there's too many scorers and the ball's maybe travelling too far and all that kind of thing, and being a hurler in the ditch, making these kind of comments. And then I went to the Munster final, and then you realise how little time it takes for these players now in 2022 to get the ball over the bar. Just seconds. They say they might have 15 to 20 seconds in a whole game for 7 points or like that. Do you feel the standard is as good as ever?
I think every year the standard is getting better. I think that if you look at reading in the years or something, it was get the ball and hit it, and then it might be a tussle to win a ball. Now it's basically it has to be driven to the hand as quick as possible and then move the ball on from there. Your touch has to be outstanding to play at the top level. And I think that's my opinion. I think every year it's getting better and better. And the speed, the strength, and the size of the lads, it's just getting. I don't know where the end line is.
Right. Because 9 years ago you were both involved in semi-finals. Even from then to now, huge change.
Yeah, I think it has. I think the game has changed.
How?
It's nearly about possession now. It's working the ball up the pitch. If the opposition don't have the ball, well, they can't score, so we're going to keep the ball as much as we can. It's kind of bringing a football element into it, but just with more pace. It's getting the ball into a scoring position, and very, very rarely, we'll say Brian Lohan, the image I always had of Brian Lohan's red helmet busting out from the full back line out to the left side or to the right side and launching it as far as you can.
And the crowd would go mad. It'd be almost like a point.
Yeah. It lifts the crowd, lifts everything. If you're standing outside the stadium, you'd think there's a score. But that has gone out of now. Very, very rarely you'll see someone just launch the ball. It's heads up hurling and it's picking out a man the whole time. Whether it is a hand pass given and going again, and that's the football element being brought into it, or else maybe a 30, 40, 50 yard strike, or else if you work it up maybe to the midfield, then it's delivered into the corners. Sean Flynn did an article on the 42 there a couple of months ago, where he did the way the structure of the game, the way it is now, and poke outs and the area of the pitch where it's been delivered from, and it's nearly every team is getting it up to a platform and then delivering it in. And that's the way it's been played now. It's nearly working it out.
Barry Natch is a sweeper type.
Yeah, and it's working it out to a certain area of the pitch and then delivering it. Because if you strike from further back, it breaks down more in their half, or you nearly want to bypass the opposition half back line. But yeah, look, we're getting into a lot there now. But I think the game has changed. The last 8-9 years, it's just it's unrecognisable from what it used to be.
The buzz in Clare, even the defeat in the Munster final, there was a huge pride in that, and it's almost in the image of Ryan Lohan, the honesty, the endeavour, and there's a feel good factor about Clare this year.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's like if there was ever a team that an image of their manager, it's this Clare team. Like, what did everybody remember Brian for? Like, not taking a step back, being intense, giving everything every day he went out. And I think this year they've done that, in every game, and even in the Wexford game when things weren't going well. And I suppose they'd come off the low of losing the Munster final and just trying to figure, that Wexford team out. I thought it was kind of a frustrating game in terms of how they were going to figure them out. Wexford set up in a way that Wexford normally do set up. They kind of knew that they couldn't go 15 against 15 against them. So I think when they figured that out and they worked that out, the intensity came back. And the crowd is just behind them, massively. Like, I haven't seen, I suppose 2013 was the last time when I felt, there was a crowd behind the team. But that's what Clare do. If you give them honesty, if you go out every day and perform and try your best, the Clare supporters will get behind you, and it's no different to this team. But it's phenomenal to see on the other side now, and... Are you
going to be nervous today?
Yeah, do you know what? It's kind of frustrating, I think, when you're watching it as a supporter, having been in it so long. You kind of see things maybe that the regular Joe Sup mightn't see it.
What like what?
Just like you're watching things tactically and how they're setting up and maybe thinking about how you could change that. But it frustrates you more because you can't actually do anything about it. So like you nearly want to be wired down to him to actually tell him something. And
I'd agree with that. When you're a player, you just show up and you do what the manager tells you, or you play whatever strategy he wants to play. But when you're away from it and sitting in the stand or watching on the telly, you're nearly looking at, right, where's the movement going, where's the pattern of play. You're nearly assessing the game more when you would say after you play, more than when you actually are a player.
Yeah, I was doing co-commentary for the Munster minor final, Clare and Tip, and Tip had a man sent off. And I was up in the gantry and I could see what was going on, and it was killing me to not go down like to Bach and just tell him, in his ear, this is what I can see, or, something like that. But listen, I credit to anybody who gets involved in it, because the scrutiny is there, there's nobody scrutinising my decisions. But I do find it hard, I suppose, when you've been in there. You nearly need to internalise it rather than say it to somebody, because it just frustrates you. But it's very enjoyable and I look forward to it, and it's never anything I've way less stress. You arrive into games and you kind of get to enjoy the atmosphere and the build-up, and you're meeting people and chatting to them, whereas obviously if you're playing or you're involved, you're so focused on what's going on and maybe just making sure that you perform to your best.
These are your friends. Do you leave them alone?
Yeah, I do. I suppose I'm probably quite close to John Conlon and Tony, Shane O'Donnell. Still, I'd be in contact with him throughout the year and stuff like that. But yeah, I might have a debrief with John on a Monday morning of a game. He'd be asking me my opinion and stuff like that. But I would never really go too depth into it. And before the week, it's literally a best of luck on a Wednesday, and that's kind of it. I don't really say too much about it, but it is, it's not my place really to be telling him things. Brian is filling him in,
Tom, are you still close to the lads? I'm sure you are.
Yeah, look, it's same as what Colin was saying there. You kind of try and keep your distance a small bit coming up to the games. You don't want to be saying too much to them, or not that they tell you anyway. But yeah, look, I'd be fairly good friends with Declan and Nicky and Graham, a few of the older lads, and yeah, look, you just have to kind of send them an all good luck text and stuff like that, and leave it at that. And you might see him then after the game, a day or two after that, or you might meet him in the street for a coffee or something like that. But look, it is hard, as you say. Everyone becomes experts when they go into the stand and stuff like that, and as Colin was saying there, it's hard to kind of keep it yourself when you can see yourself what's going on on the pitch, and you have tempted to send John Kiley an all text there and tell him something is going on down the field or whatever. But Yeah, look, it's
Kylie, you've lost it. You've lost it, Kylie.
Yeah.
Whatever about sending a text to Kylie, I don't know if you'd send a text to Lohan.
But yeah, look, as I say, you see things from a different perspective. Like, you see things that, as the boys are saying, like that the normal person wouldn't see, and you're analysing everything. I suppose it's just you've been so caught up in it over the last couple of years that you see this and you would see something different, whereas the normal supporter might just see, as I say, full back coming out with the ball and launching it, whereas we'll be seeing, like, where the pass could go, or where's the next ball going, or how they're setting up, how they're, if one of the lads is working back the field, like chasing back a lost cause, like them small little things, like that's what the lads look for, and they're the small wins that they class. Like if they see a corner forward or a half forward chasing a lost cause like 40 yards, and it could result in a turnover, like, which could be massive. It could result in a score. Like, so these are all the small things that the normal supporter probably doesn't see that we would see, like up in the stand.
I was thinking 4 years ago, it was still 45 years since Limerick won the All-Ireland, Tom, and now it's 3 in 4 years. And I'm sure it's given the whole county a huge lift in terms of the young people having new heroes that they can identify with, and everybody in the county must be buzzing over this success story.
Yeah, look, it was just, as I say, so long, and they were just craving something. And look, I suppose we got something in 2013 when we won the Munster and stuff like that. And look, we didn't drive on that year. We thought maybe this finally could be our year, but look, Clare caught us in the semi-final, and deservedly so. Like, but as I say, 2018, it's just taking the monkey off our shoulder, like that. We could never get over the line and stuff like that. And I think if we hadn't gotten over the line in 2018, it might have set us back another bit. But thankfully, the momentum has just kept going and going. And as you say, like every young fella in the county had a hurley the last couple of years. Like, you see them when you're driving back the road, driving the train, and in around Limerick City and stuff, especially, like, and even clubs that were mainly football back west and stuff like that. They've started up underage hurling clubs and stuff like that, which is brilliant. Like, and they're investing in the youth going forward. Like, and look, it's been massive lift. And as I say, this bunch of hurlers, they owe nothing to Limerick. Like, even if they didn't win another All-Ireland, no, hopefully that doesn't happen. But like, they owe nothing. Like, what they have done for this country is unbelievable. And
has that changed even the way sport is approached in Limerick? Because we all know that Limerick is a huge rugby enclave, especially in the city, and soccer's also always been big in Limerick. So is there been a change in landscape in terms of young people playing sport?
Oh, I'd say definitely, like, and especially with the success that Munster Rugby had there going back 10 years ago and up along, like that, it has, the wheel has turned, like, and it is GA that it has taken over in around the city and stuff like that. So I suppose, look, I probably noticed it more myself because being a hurler and stuff like that, but the interest from the youth now is just crazy, and it's amazing what a bit of success can do, like, and it just drives the county forward.
The Dubs had that, didn't they, for a while, Ryan, when you won the Leinster and you won the league? And
yeah, certainly 2011, more so than 2014 or 2013. 2011, after we won the league, I was living in Tala at the time, and like every young lad had a hurley there. It was phenomenal to see. And an area that would be known for soccer. It was great to see. And then you'd be going to clubs and going to summer camps and all that, and just the buzz and the interest that was there was phenomenal. And in areas that traditionally wouldn't have been, it was great. And like I was in college down in Limerick. I was in UL, and Limerick is a great sports city. Regardless of the sport, I know hurling is taking priority at the moment, but like when I was there, that's when Munster were winning the Heineken Cup, and there was such a buzz around, and the same, like, it was just the whole time. And depending on what time of the year, if the Olympics was on or something, you just see everyone was just, if Wimbledon was on, everyone was playing tennis at that time. It was phenomenal to see. So Limerick they're a very proud county, and they're very good at getting behind a team, no matter what it is, whether it is rugby or hurling, or you saw the footballers there this year, they had a good run.
You're still loving the game. You're being up and helping out with Down, and you're playing with Cashel.
Yeah, well, playing. We're moving to Galway, so I'm actually playing up there now. getting help, getting a job. So I said I may throw my lot in with
all the 4
medals.
provinces you've been around. So
yeah. Well, I get around. Well travelled within the country. Anyway, I'm well travelled. But yeah, looking forward to the year ahead now. Make a lot of friends, and I'm sure I'll make a few enemies along the way.
no enemies. No enemies. Tony Kelly, this phenomenon, that point, like just to me, that's the moment of the year so far. And maybe today now we'll see a few more, and Kilkenny will have obviously a few answers to that.
Hopefully so. Yeah, like I think definitely the best hurler I've ever played with anyway, by a country mile. But I think what people don't really get, you only get a snippet of it, but it's how humble he is. How he's not like, he doesn't want the limelight. He doesn't want to feel like he's the best. He goes off there and hooks, Gerard Hegarty, just for the team. He didn't see that score in his head when he made that hook. He saw, I'm working for the team, I'm doing a job for the team, and people don't get his work ethic, or they don't fully appreciate it maybe, because of his scores are just so unbelievable. Like, he has such variety in his game. You could give him any ball, and like his variety in his scores in the Munster final were just phenomenal. Like from his own 65 to running into 30 yards out, to from the sideline to right side, left side, on the run, standing up. Like, he just has it all, and like I just feel like it's a pleasure to have played with him. But he's humble. Like, if I asked Tony to do something in the morning for me for an underage team in the market, Tony be there. Like last week, he's like, that was my primary school. Like, he was
with all the kids, they would think they went viral.
All the kids, like, yeah, and like he has no connection to that primary school, like, apart from somebody asking him the question, and that was my old alma mater, like, and to see that in the kids, that will live long in their memory. Of Tony Kelly coming in and giving them medals and stuff like that, and that's the type of fella he is. And I just wish him every success. I hope, like, Croke Park is his playground, and hopefully he has another one tonight, and we'll worry about who gets there then after that.
Go on.
Sin, you hit the nail on the head there. He's so grounded. Like, he's so humble. I know him. I've met him a few times now, and he's such a nice guy. If you meet him on the street, not a hope would you say, apart from people coming over wanting a picture with him, not a hope would you say, oh, he's somebody, or he's well known, or anything like that. He keeps his feet on the ground, and I think that's what makes him better. I think hurlers like him only come along once every 10, 15, 20 years. Like, there's not many of them around, and you can see the contribution that he's making to Clare. Would you say that he's Clare's best hurler ever?
Well, yeah. It'd be hard to argue against it, I think. You could probably name a couple of players of iconic nature, like a Brian Lohan and Seanie McMahon, but Tony has everything.
Oh, Seanie Mac was...
Tony has everything.
Yeah.
How many times in 100 would you get that sideline? Like, would you...
I was actually at a wedding, would you believe? It was a friend of mine getting married, and everybody was like, oh no, keep it in play, and I just went, no. I was like, it's Tony Kelly, he can do it. If Tony Kelly feels like he's going to score this, let Tony hit it, because I can guarantee you what's going through Tony's head at that moment in time is what's best for the team. And if he felt like that he wasn't going well, or couldn't hit it, or was something like that, he would have kept that ball in play. But like, and not to be biased, by the way, Tom is listening in, Cian Lynch is the exact same. Cian Lynch is so humble, and I've met him a couple of times, and it's fantastic to have role models like them for my kids, and kids in school and stuff like that they're just so grounded, so humble, but yet they're the best hurlers in their generation.
It's important that we've had obviously negative headlines over the row last week between Armagh and Galway and the Taoiseach getting involved and all that, and it's important to, I suppose, reiterate, Tom Condon, like the Irishness and the GA does have that real great connection in a positive way with people.
Yeah, and look, I suppose the headlines all week have been about the brawls and whatever happened last week. But look, I know it was trialed by media and social media and stuff like that. And look, we're all capable of losing the plot sometimes, like some more so than others. And look, it was a rush of blood to the head and stuff like that. And look, what happened, and I just felt very sorry for him. And look, he's getting his punishment now, and it should be left at that and move on. And as you say, it's just like the GA and the games are just brilliant, like just advertisement for Ireland in general, like, and like the amount of people overseas and stuff like that see the game, and they're astounded by just the way these lads are built and their endurance and stuff. Like, they're athletes and they can't get over like that. These lads aren't fully paid like for what they do, like, and calling a spade, like, these lads they're like any professional athlete in the world, like, and I say they're just a great advertisement for us, like, and it's just great that we have like so many, as Colin was saying, of these good hurlers and stuff like that at the moment, and we're witnessing what they're able to do, like, and skill levels and stuff like that has just gone through the roof in the last couple of years. And even since I was there a couple of years ago, like, the game has evolved more, and it just makes for a greater spectacle, like, and it's just, I just think it's just unreal, like.
So Ryan, Kilkenny, I think we know where we're going to get. I remember even like back when you were beating them in 2011, 2013, there is a Kilkenny way, isn't there? It's the intensity, the frosty.
Yeah.
They play probably the most traditional style possibly of the current crop.
Yeah, and they play on the edge. You know what you're going to get with Kilkenny. They play on the edge every time. Like, if they don't get you on the way in, they'll get you on the way out. It's that kind of way. But they push it to the limit each time. And we'll say earlier on, or 2 weeks ago, we'll say, after the quarter-final and you knew the draw, I really fancied Clare. The closer it's getting to the game, and especially after the team was named, I'm thinking, oh geez, like, I think Kilkenny could pull this off. Because, like, look, they don't have the star names, the marquee names like they did 10, 15 years ago. But there's lads there that are absolutely solid. Like, you see Mickey Butler, cornerback. Like, I would just see him as an absolute nightmare to play against. And Hugh Lawler has been there the last couple of years. Like, there's a few there. Like, there's no marquee hurler that it's, apart from TJ Reid, that, yeah, he can score 10, 12 points or whatever. But there's no other lad there that stands out as being the marquee player. But they're just all solid hurlers that work together as a team, and just they like, you know that when you play them, you're going to be in a fight. It's going to be a cracking game. There's a few key matchups now that I think are going to be so important, like Pádraig Welsh, centre forward, against Tom Condon. What way is that going to work out? Like, where is he going to drag him? Is he going to sit toe to toe with him and battle it out, or is he going to move around? Is John going to follow him? Adrian Mullen and David Fitzgerald as well. That's going to be a key one that you just don't know what's going to happen. And also, TJ Reid is wing forward. Is he going to stay wing forward? Is he going to be in the full forward line at some stage? Is someone going to man mark him, or are they just going to hold their positions and let him wander around? You can't really do that with TJ Reid. You know, you have to mark him. So it's going to be interesting, the matchups. And look, Brian Lohan, we saw the last day that he has no problem wielding the axe as well. With all the controversy, are the two lads going to play, and then Rory Hayes being whipped off after it was 15, 20 minutes.
It was 8 minutes.
It was
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he has no problem wielding the axe there for the good of the team.
Do you play these big lads in the full forward line? Do you go for the Clare full back line if you're Kilkenny today?
Well, you look, every single time Kilkenny line out, they pick something in the opposition that's a weakness that they can exploit. You saw there, was it Kilkenny played Tip, I think, was it the 09 final, or could have been 08 they played them. No, it was 09. And Henry Shefflin went in on John O'Keefe, and the height, there was a height difference straight away, but every ball was landing in there, so they exploited that. And they'll look at, right, we have big men in our full, where we can have big men in our full forward line. TJ Reid can win any ball in the full forward line if it's coming in high. Do we put him in the full forward line and put him on Rory Hayes, where there's a height difference, and TJ, look, he's one of the strongest in there in the country. So it's going to be interesting, the tactics and the matchups. I think the matchups, who's going to pick up who, I think that's going to be the highlight for me, and that's going to be the win of the game.
So for Clare, what I think when I look at the Clare squad is the strength and depth, actually, Colin. Like, Aaron Shanahan's a dangerous player. You've got players that come off the bench like Mark Rogers, Shane Meehan. Do you feel that if you can weather the storm, that you might have the finishers, as they say in that word in rugby.
Yeah, it's the one thing when this draw came out, or when we knew we were playing Kilkenny or whatever, it was the one thing I felt we had the upper hand on. Was I thought we had more scorers than what Kilkenny have, in this current crop. TJ is not having a brilliant year. Not to say he's still so effective, and I hope I don't jinx it and he goes out and scores 3-3 or something today. But Adrian Mullen is scoring a lot from midfield. That's going to be a key battle. Can we keep him down? Paddy Deegan scored 2 points from play in the Leinster final. So can he be kept going back the other direction? And take some of their scoring thread out of it. But I definitely think Clare have probably, a bigger scoring threat, a bigger balance of scores across the team. And I'm hoping that, if we're in it with 10 minutes to go, that, the likes of a Shane Meehan, Mark Rogers, can come on. The game has opened up, and, they've seen Aaron Shanahan, they've seen that he chip in with 1-4, I think it was, from play in the Wexford game, in 10 minutes. So, the matchups are going to be key, but Clare are going to have to make sure that the house is minded, early, because, this Kilkenny team is going to go at you, early. It's going to be intense, but I'm actually glad it happened towards the end of the Wexford game, because now, it has been well warned. I'm sure Brian has been talking about it in training. There's probably been high balls coming in on top of Conor Cleary, and, and it is probably one of the things that, I know Brian has been, he has shown that he's ruthless and taken off Rory Hayes, but is Cian Nolan stronger in the air than Rory Hayes? So, these are things you just don't know what will happen, or what Brian will be thinking about with his selection, issues and how things are going to work out. I'd be very surprised if all 4 teams started the way they've been named.
Yeah.
This weekend. There's just that little bit of, is Cian Lynch going to, play for Limerick? Is
the Shane O'Donnell in 13? Did you know? When did you find out?
We found out actually on the bus over from. We used to go to St. Pat's in Drumcondra, and obviously the team was named. Darroch knew earlier. Obviously he was, he kept his powder dry, which is fair play to him. Listen, you do these things for the team. It isn't always nice. And Darroch was a phenomenal teammate and stuff like that. But it is always hard. But it was over in St. Pat's. We used to go for the meal over there, and Fitzy just said, listen, Shane is going to start here, and I think that's when Shane found out as well. I think ironically enough, but it obviously worked.
Yeah. Does it in any way? So in any way, it doesn't really disrupt the players around you. You just adjust.
I think Gearóid McInerney not starting for Galway is far different. A corner forward who's in form in training, just slotting in and kind of going, oh yeah, he's okay. But if one of your midfielders or your centre forward or your centre back or full back or somebody who you're going to create a game plan around changes, then that's where you really have to plan for it a bit earlier, than something like that. I think that time, Fitzy could get away with it because it was like for like. It was a bit of flair for a bit of flair, a corner forward. But if your game plan revolves, if Declan Hannon isn't to play for Limerick tomorrow, you have to have talked about that. You can't just do that on the drop of a hat, because it changes your dynamic of who's communicating with one another and stuff like that.
And there's key positions like your full back, your centre back, and probably your centre forward. They're three key positions that you can't just make a change on the day. That's something that you have to plan around and say, well, look, if Gearóid McInerney goes down, if he can't play, what do we do? What's our plan B? You were talking about the Clare and the bench that they have and the depth that they have and the scores, but you look at who Kilkenny have as well. They've Walter Walsh to come on, Killian Buckley, Richie Hogan's back in it, Conor Delaney. There's serious depth there as well, and they're good hurlers, but they've experience as well, so it won't take them time to get into the game. They can come on and make a difference straight away. They've been in this position before, so I'm looking forward to tonight's game more so than tomorrow's game, because I think tonight's game can go either way.
Yeah. We're speaking to Ryan O'Dwyer, Colin Ryan and Tom Condon on the Saturday panel about the hurling semi-finals. 53106, if you've got a question for the panel about anything, or if you're on the road as a passenger, obviously, if you're on the way from Kilkenny and Clare, give us a shout out on 53106. Tom, how do you assess Kilkenny and Clare?
Yeah, look, going on by paper and by the teams named, I would fancy Clare, but that's play straight into Kilkenny's hands, because Kilkenny just love if you write them off, and look, I suppose it happened to us in 2019, everyone was talking about, sure, look, Limerick are going to beat Kilkenny and stuff like that, and they came out that day and they absolutely savaged us. in the first 30-35 minutes, and that's what this Kilkenny team can do. As Colin was saying there, they mightn't have the finishers that Clare have, but there's no doubt that Brian Cody will, the last couple of weeks, will have this driven into them, like, about just working as hard as they can. Like in 2019, their what we call it, their intensity index, like, was through the roof. It was freakish. You'd never again see anything like it.
Can you measure that, Tom? Can you measure that?
Yeah, look, it's certain parameters, like how many tackles a minute that the opposition has the ball in their possession. So, like, you're able to work out some kind of factor there. And, like, what Kilkenny did that day, like, they absolutely blew us off the field. And by the time we tried to recuperate, we ran out of the road. Like, it was just the game had gone away from us. And that's the one worry that I suppose Clare will have, or Brian Lohan will have, like that, is if Kilkenny bring that aggression and that intensity like that, it could rattle Clare. Wexford maybe had that and they just ran out of steam. But I would still fancy Clare to have enough hurling to pull through. And look, as I say, Tony Kelly is on form and stuff like that. And, like, the thing about Tony Kelly, as Colin was saying earlier, like, what sets him apart, like, as well, is his work rate is just absolutely phenomenal. And, like, people might think Tony Kelly's having a quiet game because he's only gotten a couple of points. But if you're actually watching Tony, what he does off the ball, his work rate, his hooking, his chasing back, his positioning, like, it's just unreal to watch. Like, and it's a joy to watch. And especially, like, you're looking in from another county, like, it's just, it must be a pleasure to have played with him and to train with him and to watch him in training, like, because more often than not is in training that they're doing probably this and more, you know, like. So look, I just think that his work rate and stuff like that just sets him apart to any other player. So, like, that'll be, I suppose Brian Cody will do the man mark him. I don't know, it's an awful conundrum, like, because if you give him the freedom of the park, he's going to do damage. If you send a fella with him, you're going to create space inside, and that's what Clare will want as well. Like, and look, I think if Clare are thereabouts with 15 minutes to go, I think that they'll gradually pull away and outscore Kilkenny.
Okay, got to take a break. Tom Condon, Ryan O'Dwyer and Colin Ryan on the Saturday panel previewing the hurling semi-finals. We're back after this.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball. Future Proof.
The most dangerous animal in the world is, of course, the mosquito, responsible for so many deadly diseases worldwide. But is it the best insect to employ if you want to inflict extreme pain and discomfort on your enemy in the battlefield of war? On this week's Future Proof, the history of insects in war.
Future Proof.
Proudly supported by Science Foundation Ireland.
Hear all the gory details on Future Proof with me, Jonathan McRae, this Sunday on News Talk from 10.
Go experience. Go explore this summer with gobreaks.ie. Book a midweek break from only €85 per night. And you'll also receive a free breakfast. Choose from fabulous hotels across the country with midweek extras like early check-ins and late check-outs. Whether it's a girly getaway or a relaxing break, let Go Breaks find the best hotel deals for you from only €95 per night midweek. T's and C's at gobreaks.ie.
Go Breaks. If something's free, why would you turn it down? I mean, a free haircut from a 5-year-old. Oh, no. Or a free sample of onion paste. Oh. Well then, how about a free tour of your neighbour's new shed? Oh, sounds, well... OK, look, they were bad examples. But how about a free eye test and free glasses from the €69 range of Specsavers with your PRSI? Well, that sounds like something to smile about.
Book an appointment or find out more at specsavers.ie.
So how's your constipation these days, Patsy?
Oh, I've been taking Fibergel. It's full of fibre, which naturally relieves constipation and helps maintain regularity.
Fabulous. My constipation is much more mild, so I take the chewable tablets from Fibergel.
Oh.
Super convenient. Just pop it in your mouth to make number 2 a little less of a to-do.
Mum, Patsy, I am never coming to tea with you again.
Fibergel High Fibre Orange Granules contains this. Bagula Husk, always read the label. Fibergel Fibre Chews is a medical device, always read the instructions.
You've got a lovely, smooth pint of Guinness in front of you. You're surrounded by the best group of people. You found the last table in the beer garden. But The sun's just gone behind a cloud. But hey, any second now. It's a lovely day for a Guinness.
Jolly good company.
Get the facts. Be drink aware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Choose your local Centra for great offers this week. Like Centra Extra Lean Steak Mince 330 gram, now €3. 7-pack Tato Hunky Dory's Crisps, now €2.50. And Casillero Del Diablo Sauvignon Blanc, now €9. Celebrate summer, choose Centra. Centra, live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
At 410 a bid, at 410 a bid.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the Galway races that everyone is looking forward to in the west of Ireland, but the forthcoming O'Donnell Enjoys property auction is the talk of the town, with over 40 properties going under the auction hammer, and all must be sold. You'll be winner all right at the O'Donnell Enjoys property auction, which takes place on Friday the 8th of July at 12 noon in the Harbour Hotel. For further particulars and a catalogue, contact O'Donnell Enjoys auctioneers at 091 564 212. That's 091 564 212. All done. Sold.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball.
And we're welcome back to the Off the Ball Saturday panel here on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 5, previewing the All-Ireland Senior Hurling semi-finals with the former All-Ireland winner with Clare, Colin Ryan, Limerick's ex-All-Ireland winner Tom Condon, who's on the line, and the former Dublin and Tipperary star Ryan O'Dwyer. Kilkenny's Paul Murphy will be joining us from Croke Park a little later on. We're covered, there's no bias here, all 4 counties covered for the semi-finals. The occasion, a lot of these Clare players have never played at Croke Park. Colin, is that an issue in any way? Is there any butterflies, or is it just another stadium?
Yeah, like I think probably the main players have played there, you know, and had a lot of success there. I suppose there's some of the younger ones, maybe, you know, Paul Flanagan has obviously been there a lot, but probably hasn't played there, you know, which is quite unusual. But no, I think there's always been a thing in Clare where, like, you're nearly unleashed when you get to Croke Park, that it was never felt like a burden. It was never felt like, you know, this is a stadium we can't perform in, you know. And I don't know where that came from. It was probably, you know, when Clare got there in 95 and 97, that they always performed and kind of and brought that, you know, intensity to the game. And I suppose, you know, it just kind of continued. Now, I know we had a couple of poor results there. We won against Dublin in a league game there, you know, and a qualifier. You know, in the qualifier we lost to Dublin there, but it was always somewhere where, you know, we felt like we could perform, and Clare people feel like that, you know, it's a monkey off your back when you get there, and it's nearly as if, like, you know, okay, now just, you know, no hesitation here, because if you hesitate in Croke Park, you know, you'll be left behind and you'll have so many regrets after it. And that's kind of always what was kind of put into us, that, like, here's your stadium now, just, you know, your stage, just go and do it, you know, and enjoy it. And I think that's what Clare have really bought into, I think, down through the years.
I hope you've no regrets now, Ryan. I hope you're okay now, 9 years later. Everything is all right now.
Look, a week doesn't go by where I don't think about it. Yeah, look, I have regrets from Croke Park, but I've had some great times in Croke Park as well. Like, I think, and especially people that haven't played there before, I think the first time you get to play in Croke Park, you don't let the event or let the venue take hold or distract you. You relish it and you say, oh, geez, I busted my backside to get here. You know, now I'm just going to show you what I can do. And look, the people that are over these teams, the 4 teams, they've been there, they've done it all, whether it has been a player or a manager, they've done it all. So they're going to use that knowledge to make the transition as seamless as possible. And at the end of the day, I suppose when I was on the field anyway, and outside the lines, I never came into my head at all. So the first time ever I actually noticed a crowd ranting was about 3 or 4 minutes left in the league final in 2011, when Keeney scored a point from the sideline, and I heard a big roar, and I actually looked around and said, Jesus, there's some crowd here today. And never before or after that did I notice a crowd. May as well be playing down the Leahy Park in Cashel in front of 20 people.
It's true though, like, you know, I suppose me being a free taker, like, you know, in 2013, whatever, like the Limerick semi-final, there was, I think there was nearly 70,000 there, and then there was 82,000 for the other two. I actually don't recall, like, a roar going up at any stage. You know, if I could actually, I'd nearly need to watch it back I think you're so in your head. You know, you live this every day of the week as inter-county players. Yeah, you live it every day of the week. It's all you want to do is perform on the field. I think the occasions don't really come into it until afterwards. You think back and go, that was a really good occasion. But I think if you know, these players wouldn't be who they are if they're worrying, you know, about letting occasions get to them, you know.
Tom, and if the occasion does get to them, they're going to falter. Yeah. You know, so it's simple as.
Tom, when you caught that ball, did you hear the crowd in 2018?
No, jeez, when I came on, like, I always remember, you just couldn't hear anything. There was just a constant drone or a buzz in your ear, so like you actually could not hear a thing on the pitch. I remember the volume was just crazy, and I just remember all I could see was just the players flying everywhere, just tackles, and then the ball just flying everywhere. It was just you couldn't hear anything. And as I say, the only thing I knew was that it was the last puck of the game, and it had to go over, or that was it. Like, so until I heard the jaw, I just got the ball and ran, and heard the whistle. Then you kind of have a chance to soak it in. But as Ryan was saying, like, it never crowds and stuff like that. It never came into my head when I was playing. Like, anytime you go out onto the pitch, once you started your warm up, you kind of switched on and you kind of just forgot about what was going on around you, and you just concentrated on the game. And that's the thing about it. You have to be concentrated on the game and what's going on and what your job is. And when you are, it's irrelevant what happens around you outside the lines. Like, you just don't take any notice. And as Colin was saying then as well, like, these players are well tuned into that. Like, they've had so many psych sessions and stuff like that, and they would have worked on some different scenarios and stuff like that. And they, like, I remember in 2018 we used to train with actual speakers on with crowd noises in the background to get used to playing in front of big crowds and stuff like that. Now, I'll probably be killed for telling me that, like, but like, there was one or two train sessions that there was loudspeakers played with just the crowd noise, just to get us used to that kind of drone or buzz, whatever like that. So the boys they're well prepared for this, and as Les was saying, like, they wouldn't be there unless they were tuned in, and they are prepared to play in front of crowds like that. And look, once you cross the white line, all you're concentrating on is the ball and what's going on around you and your job. I think the one shock to new players playing there will be actually how they actually can't hear their own players. You know, that is one of the things, you know, that it's very hard to communicate, you know, or to talk to a wing back, you know, even if they're only 30 yards from you, because of the crowd noise just kind of filtering around the stadium all the time. You know, it was something that we kind of had to get used to at the start. You really need to trust your team and have a lot of unity there. And now that you can't really get a message on, you know, unless you're a medic really at this stage, it is hard to change things up if you know, if things aren't going your way. Yeah, I think that for me, like I said, I was involved with Down this year. The biggest issue for me was you weren't allowed runners anymore. You weren't allowed to cross the line, even to give water. They have to come out to the sideline. So to get a message, like if you wanted to, or you go out to wing back or whatever, trying to get that message in, it could take 5-10 minutes to get the change right. And during that time, there could be 3 or 4 things done that could cost you the game. Let's make a case, if we can, for Galway. Can you tomorrow? I heard Skehill try to argue a case. I don't know. The hurling pod, good stuff. Yeah, and I you know what, like, Skehill trained us a small bit in the market, so I kind of you know, I have a good connection with James. Like, but like, I even think in James, in all his ignorance and trying to fight for something, I don't think he could even come up with a logical argument to go against it. I just don't see it. I don't think they have enough scoring prowess to score 30 points that they're going to need, you know, to beat this Limerick team. And I don't think they have enough backs to be able to man mark, you know, or match up Limerick's forwards. It's one of these things. I actually thought Cork might have been a better match for, you know, an All-Ireland semi-final, and how they match up against Limerick, but it's Henry's first time coming up against Limerick. It's probably the only thing I can really say that you just don't know what he's going to do, you know, or how he's going to prepare this team to go at them. But they're going to have to improve massively, I think, from what they did in the Leinster final to even, you know, keep themselves within 10 points of Limerick. We'll play the tape for Skehill and get him to give you a rebuttal. The thing about Limerick for me is, Tom, there's so many options with Limerick. Whether Cian Lynch plays or not, there's somebody always able to step up, whether it was Barry Nash the last day, or whether it's Seamus Flanagan, or another day might be Carl Hayes, another day might be Aaron Gallan. Something must give you a huge amount of confidence. Yeah, and like the beauty about like Keane suffering that injury and any other year going back 8-9 years ago, like they'd be trying to get Keane Lynch back on the field as quickly as you can. But like John came out and was able to nip that straight away and say, lads, Keane won't be involved until the latter end of the stages if we get there. He suffered injury and we're going to move on. And that's always been John's kind of mantra, is it's next man up. So like, as I say, it's wonderful to see like that there's such strength and depth in the Limerick panel, like, and see competition is through the roof in training and stuff like that. You could have 26 fellas absolutely hopping and training, and you wouldn't know what the team might be the next day, like, you know, and training, the intensity and stuff like that was always through the roof, and like it just gives John a headache, and it's that's what's driving this team forward the whole time as well, is just the standards and stuff like that. And look, it's great that if there is a couple of fellas not performing and stuff like that, that there is other guys on the team that can step up, and it could be anyone on any day. And look, you just couldn't single out anyone at the moment, like, but they're all having a fairly solid season so far.
And you could even notice that in that picture after the Munster final with then Nicky Quaid and the full back line and Dermot Burns, that the conditioning was off the scale, and obviously they're competitive not only on the pitch but in the gym as well.
Yeah, the condition of them was unreal.
They've set themselves though massive standards, I think. Like, you know, like I know Joe O'Connor, and Tom will know Joe. Like, Joe was involved with us with Clare, and I was actually very, very, you know, down when Joe left the Clare setup, you know, because his conditioning, or the way he talked to players and how he was positive with them, he got everybody rowing in the gym, you know, and how they were able to do the running and stuff like that. So like, he set massive standards in Limerick, but then they have to be driven internally, and obviously, you know, Joe is long gone now. But like, they're still obviously trying to fight for one another. But they, like, I suppose you've eras like, you know, you've Clare bringing physicality in the 90s, you've Kilkenny bringing physicality and, you know, raw aggression, you've Cork playing a running game. This Limerick team has created, you know, their own era of how to play the game, but their conditioning and level of fitness and level of hurling ability is unmatched, you know, to what we've had previously. It's up to everybody else to catch up with them.
So is it Galway 15 on 15? Is it get in your faces? What is, like, Henry will be saying something, he'll be trying to G them up, because on the form book you have to say that Cork wastes a lot of chances and Galway are going to have to find something tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I've been in Galway a lot over the last 2 weeks, and even the Galway people, they're saying, oh look, they've no hope against Limerick. So what you would hope is that the players don't be listening to the external noise. They keep it in-house. They have to have a belief in themselves. Yeah, they're going up against possibly one of the best teams of all time. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's 15 against 15. You asked, are they going to go straight on 15 against 15, man on man? I think a lot depends on Gearóid McInerney. If he plays, I know you said there could be a few changes, but he's named to start. If he starts, well then in the forwards you still have Conor Cooney, which is a physical threat in the forwards, a target man in the forwards. If Gearóid McInerney's gone, Conor Cooney's back centre back. Well, you'd imagine he could be back, Joseph Cooney back centre back. That's going to be a massive loss in the forwards. Are they going to possibly bring to so that they don't lose that in the forwards? Would they bring Johnny Cohn on and put him centre back? I know he's small and wouldn't usually play centre back, but would you just go man marking Kyle Hayes or Keane Lynch, depending on who's on? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it all depends on what Gearóid McInerney, how his fitness is, and whether he's going to start or not.
Would anybody worry you in that Galway team, Tom?
Yeah, look, everyone seems to be writing off Galway, but over the last couple of years, people would all have been saying that Galway were the one team that would match Limerick physically and stuff like that. And I know that they're down Joe Canning this year and stuff like that, but I still think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Like, if they bring the physicality that they're capable of bringing, and look, as Ryan was saying, it all depends on whether Gearóid McInerney is starting and stuff, because Joseph Cooney up in the forwards has been going very well. I personally think that they'll probably play a two-man for forward line, and they'll drop out Colin Mannion, and they'll probably go, maybe they'll try and crowd out around the middle third. But like the last day against Cork, Galway got an awful lot of scores from 30-40 yard pass to around the middle of the field, and got a lot of long range scores. Like, so that's one thing I suppose John Kiley would be kind of looking to clamp down, and look, they'll probably single someone out to man mark. Conor Whelan inside and try and keep him as quiet as they can, because I think he's their danger man. If they can get enough ball into him and get him isolated 1-on-1, then he can do damage. Like, he's well capable of coming out with 1 or 2 goals and 3 or 4 points. Like, but again, it's just can they bring the physicality and outwork Limerick? And any team that can do that, they'll have a good chance of beating Limerick.
53106. Hi John, as tip man living in Limerick, just naming the Limerick half forward line is frightening. That's not even talking about their scoring prowess. Serious outfit, says Bobby. Thank you for your text. 53106. Just a quick one, Ryan. Owen O'Donnell was lining out for the footballers in Dublin. He might have a decision to make next year now.
Yeah, look, I've no doubt that the footballers want to hold on to him next year, but I haven't been talking to him or anything. I sent him a message saying best of luck. So I don't know what his thought process is, but I've no doubt next year he's going to be a Dublin hurler. Might he try the dual status? I think that the dual player is gone. But if Dublin hurlers have another year like this year where the championship finishes early, I can see him switching over to the football again. But I think at the start of next year he's going to be a Dublin hurler.
It's verdicts time, Colin. There's so much at stake here. An All-Ireland final appearance for Clare, when you think about it in those terms.
Yeah, definitely. And the lift it would give everybody around the place, especially with the minors going so well this year. I still think, my heart says Clare, but I actually think my head, if they can bring the intensity, if they're off the pace like Wexford, Kilkenny are going to eat them alive. But if they bring the intensity to what they've brought in the Munster Championship, I think we might just have enough scoring ability to get us over the line.
Ryan, call the Kilkenny-Clare game.
It's so hard.
Draw.
No, possibly. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't rule it out. If you'd asked me this question last week or 2 weeks ago, I'd have said Clare by a couple of points. I'm not so sure now. I wouldn't rule out a draw. It would be very interesting to see, can Clare reach the heights that they did in the Munster final, because they played to 100% that day. To hit those heights again, it's going to be very, very hard, and they'll have to do that for the game today. And
Tom, how do you call, very briefly, Clare and Kilkenny?
Yeah, look, again, what the lads were saying there, if Clare have an off day, Kilkenny, I can see them just outworking them and stuff like that. And if Owen Cody has one of those days, he's well capable of putting up a big score. So look, I know I was kind of saying Clare have more scores, but I'll go Kilkenny by 1 or 2.
And Limerick obviously tomorrow, Tom. You can't go against your own county, so.
No, yeah, I'd be saying Limerick by about 4 or 5 points tomorrow.
Ryan, tomorrow?
I reckon Limerick by about 6 or 7.
I'd nearly go more. I just think this Limerick team is relentless. I think Galway will be very lucky if they stay within 10 points.
Tom Condon, enjoy tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
Tom Condon and Ryan O'Dwyer and Colin Ryan. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, Ryan. Up
Cheers,
the banner, is all I can say.
Yeah.
As my dad is from Clare, and we're going to, not have a biased show because Paul Murphy will be on between 4 and 5. We'll get him to say up the Cats from Croke Park. So Colin Ryan, Ryan O'Dwyer, Tom Condon, looking ahead to the hurling semi-finals. Thanks so much for your time on the Saturday panel at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Between 4 and 5, we're going to check in with the golf at Mount Juliet and also get all the latest from Paul Murphy as we build up to Kilkenny and Clare, throwing at a 5:30. Off the Ball Saturday on News Talk is back after this.
This weekend on News Talk, we've got a great prize for you. A €1,000 holiday